What's up guys, Chief here with another video where we learn how to play Starcraft 2. Today I want to talk about Zerglings. Yes, Zerglings. The whole video is going to be about these lovely little skittery Zerglings that you use as a Zerg. Now most people think of Zerglings as an early game unit. I'm going to try to combat that thought process. I'm going to think of Zerglings as a mid and late game force, as well as early game kind of a containment or flanking attack force. So if we go right into the game that we have here, this is just going to be a quick, brief example. If we unpause, now what we have here, if we bring our little armies together, is we have a force of Zerglings. We have about 37 Zerglings, and we have an army of 37 roaches and hydras. So this is going to be classified as our main attack force, and this is going to be our flanking force. Now what does this mean? What is this going to do? What's the whole point of this? Now if we were thinking conventionally where we want to make an attack on an enemy that's maybe sitting right here, we can move everything in together, right? A-click in, move in the Zerglings. The Zerglings go in, they get the surround. Great, that's fine, right? That's a decent engagement. But the problem that could arise, just as an example, if there's siege tanks shooting us, the splash damage is going to hit more things. Everything's concentrated at the front. The colossi are hitting the front, hitting more things. All the fire is directed at our army. Oh, lovely. Let's just take care of that real quick. We can use this engagement as an example, actually. Perfect. So what we want to try to do is split the fire in two different directions. And how we're going to do that is just with a very simple flanking maneuver. And what we're going to do is use our main army as our main engagement force and use our lings to sweep around. So we're just going to see that right here. We're going to position our lings in a rear position, engage with the main force, sweep the lings around, and get the surround on them. Now this was a little late, but you can get the idea, just like that. The lings sweep in from one direction while the main army is engaged in the more defensible position. So we want our main army in between our base, which is back here, and the attacking force. We wouldn't want to have our lings sweep in from this side and pinch, say, the overlords or the enemy. We wouldn't want to pinch this way, because then they can just, if it's Protoss, they just like force field and walk this way. And like, well, that didn't work. Really? I just got screwed, right? Your whole base just died because you were not attacking correctly. You were not using the terrain efficiently. So we're going to want to make our army, think of this as our more core army, and we want that in a better position defensively. And our lings are kind of expendable. Think of them expendably. So we want them to kind of sweep around from I guess an additional attack or flank to the army that'll pull some fire away. If they get the surround, they're going to soak up a ton of damage from things like colossi or just stalker shots, marine shots. They're going to take a lot of damage off of your main force, which is what you're more concerned about at this point in the game. You're more concerned about your roaches and hydras, etc., staying alive than you are about your lings. These are expendable. They're very cheap. You're more concerned, honestly, about the larva cost than the mineral cost at this point. A good way to offset that, if you guys are trying to do something like this and you just don't have enough larva to make a ling force, every time you take a third base, if you're taking your third, take a fourth macro hatch. So 4 total bases, one of them being a macro hatch. That's a really good way to make sure that you have enough larva to spend according to your income. When you take your third base, also take a macro hatch. Pretty simple. So that's really, guys, what I wanted to talk about is thinking in more of a, I don't really know how to describe it, but non-conventional attack pattern. You want to think about your force instead of one giant ball of units like this. You want to think of your lings as a totally separate force. And the way I do that is I use 2 separate hotkeys. So I'll have my lings, as you notice, are always on 1, and the rest of my army is on 2. Maybe I'll have infestors or something on 3. Also, if you want to take this one step further, you can split this army in half. Have these be 2 and these be 3, and then have your lings as 1. So you can split up these two attacks this way and this way, and have your Lings sweep in here. So if we're attacking like the Xel'Naga Watchtower area right here, we can have these guys sweep in here. Okay, here we go. These guys sweep in here, these guys sweep in here, and the Lings come in this way, and there's a 3-pronged attack. Really easy way to set that up. And these are just very basic maneuvers, guys. Another great use of Lings in the late game is to do a run-by. Most of you guys know what a Ling run-by is. So for example, we would take our force here, and we would attack, say attack this base, to pull the Protoss army over this way. They're going to come to defend this. Now, meanwhile, with our Lings, we're going to run way over here and attack this base. So that's just another form of a 2-pronged attack. No, we don't want to kill a Zealot. We don't care about Zealots. So here we are, yada, 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 and we're attacking this base at the same time. If we look at the minimap, two totally different... Oh, okay, see, that's a great example. Their lovely 4th century army is here fighting off our main force, while over here our Lings are uncontested. And that's a lot of good... a really good way to overwhelm players. So if you guys are struggling with breaking a Terran or breaking a 2-base Protoss or something like that, you push the main, and when they're trying to take a third, just use a Ling run-by. You don't even have to take off an expendable amount of Lings and Roaches. You just do a run-by with Lings. It's going to overwhelm a lot of players, aren't going to be able to multitask well enough to handle that kind of an attack. They're going to, oh god, what do I do, what do I do, what do I do? And they'll just make mistakes and lose. Very similar to how Muta Harass can really screw with the mindset of a lot of players. Muta Harass is one of those things that can be very, very frustrating and very hard to deal with if you haven't had a lot of experience with it. So similarly, use Ling run-bys. You can use all 3 in conjunction. That's a little bit more difficult. You can do a Muta Harass on the mineral line of the main, do an attack on the natural with your main Roach Hydra force or whatever you might have, and then do a Ling run-by on the 3rd. A lot of stuff to deal with, right? So that's what I wanted to think about. Non-conventional use of your forces. I guess I can't even call it non-conventional. That is conventional. Getting into the mindset of transitioning from using Lings as a main part of your army into just a flanking force. And you can include Banelings in this force also. If you are fighting a Bio-Terran or something like that, it's really good to throw in like 5 or 10 Banelings along with your flanking force of Zerglings. It's going to help you guys a lot. If you stop attacking full force, just like, you know, here and here, and just smash into each other, and kind of do a, you know, ricochet scenario around the outside from behind, and like have all these fancy diagrams where you're attacking from like 7 different angles, you're going to probably come out better than if you just would have kind of went, oh, hey, click, Jesus, what happens? And find out afterwards that it was a really bad idea. You want to make good decisions about your attack style. So in my next couple of videos, we're going to talk a lot about Zerg, and I just want to talk about basic things like building placement and larva management, a couple things. We're going to go against specific matchups. We're going to talk about ZVT, ZVZ, ZVP, all in separate videos, go a little bit in depth with that. What kind of army compositions might work for you, what kind might not, what you might want to do against, like, for example, I know a lot of people struggle against mech. A lot of people struggle against mech and just go, well, I need to use swarm hosts because that's how you deal with mech. Well, not always. You don't always have to do that. We're going to talk about different things, guys. So I hope this video, let's see, 9 minutes. A little long. We're going to leave it there. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Zerglings and how they're not just early game units. They're not just early game units. Use them, guys. Continue to use them. Do some run-bys. If you think about going into a game and saying, okay, my only goal for this game is I want to do a Ling run-by this game. Do something like that. That's what I had to do for a while to make sure that I got in the habit of using them, and it works great. A lot of the times they're totally undefended, and you just get a bunch of you know, free units for your efforts. So check it out, guys. Let me know what you think. If you have any comments, criticism, suggestions for new videos, leave them below in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye now.